All right. Good morning, everyone. It's 46 minutes after the hour on this very humid start to the day. Hope you guys are doing well. My meteorologist, Brian Good. Hope you had a good weekend. Now we're gearing up for more clusters of thunderstorms at times today, although we've had certainly more dry time than stormy time as of late. So hopefully that will play in our favor, but still got to get through the next couple of days. Then after that, I don't see much of a thunderstorm signal as I do more of a spotty shower type of signal, but several dry days, cooler weather at times before the real hint of summer, the bubble of summer heat starts to really show up into the extent. I'll give you some time frames of when to expect that flip to get back to what we would normally expect for June coming up in just a second. As always, you guys can comment on our social media pages, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. We're on there. Hello, Ashley. Good morning to you. Good morning to Nancy. Does this active weather mean anything for the forecast for the winter? Oh, I wish it did. There's a lot of theories on that, but my biggest one I'm still working on is just the change really from going from El Nino to La Nina and the implications that can have on the winter. It does create a bit of a chaotic setup, but I do think the idea of the jet stream flow in general. We had a lot of cold air last winter, a lot of cold air. It was ready for us. It just did not aim toward us. It aimed to other parts of the northern hemisphere. So you can build up a lot of that cold air, but if you don't have anywhere for it to aim, at least aim in the right direction for snow lovers, then you're not going to get much fun out of that. So that's always a catalyst, and it certainly was last year. And we'll be talking more about that in the weeks and months ahead. I'll try to do that a little more in the warmer season before we get into the busy time toward Halloween there. Good morning to Diana, coming all the way from Paoli, Indiana. Hello. Good morning to Brad as well. Good morning, Michelle, over into Linden. And hello to Dolores, watching on YouTube there. Hello, Angela. Hope all is well for you. All right, let's dive into it. Let's start off with actually a very mixed sky. And there's two different ways to look at this. First off, you got a high or mid to high deck of clouds. You see looking from the harbors in Jeffersonville, looking south over Kentucky. Meanwhile, looking to the west from the Skytrack cameras, you get into the shops, the outlets there, you can see some of the cumulus that have developed there. So really, it's just a mix of where you're at, but we will have at least the chance to get some downpours here very soon. Not long after lunch, I think we'll have some begin to pop on the radar. More on that coming up in just a few minutes, but actually, let's do it now. You can see the satellite showing, again, where we've got the mid to high deck of clouds moving in. You've had some showers and storms overnight in West Kentucky, a little more primed to hold on to not severe weather, but storms in general. The closer you are to low pressure, it's to our west. I'll show you. Do think as we head into lunch hour and just after this little band here, we'll have a chance to try to pop a few thunderstorms for this afternoon. But let me tell you, these are going to be slow movers. It'll be very random on their development, and their motion will be a bit erratic, but slow enough for us to track. So if we see that there's a heavy cluster working one way or another, we can let you know. But here's the thing. A lot of these that develop today and get those yellows and reds and look like they're going to be severe very quickly and get your attention, they will likely switch back to green fairly quick, as well as they will begin to collapse. There's not a lot of energy today to keep these towering up to get to severe limits. They may get up there about 40,000 feet is usually about the benchmark. We watch for a warning. They may get into the 30s, but I don't right now see a high likelihood to get a lot of 40,000 footers in the area with these thunderstorm cells. So most of what you see today will be just tame in the sense of rain and lightning, some gusty winds, but nothing to severe limits. But that flooding issue is really what we need to watch, because again, they will be slow movers, just so localized. It's gonna be hard to pick that out. Just pay extra attention if you're gonna be outside today, okay? When you look at the view of the Mississippi and the Ohio River Valley, do you see it? Look closely. How many low pressures do you see on this particular radar view? I'll let you guys tell me how many you see. You should be able to pick it out by looking at the loop. I'll leave it up here for a second. By the way, hello to Cheryl over in Comiskey, Indiana. Hello to Zach. Kathy, any severe weather today? We're not expecting any severe weather. A couple of gusty storms, yes, but severe weather unlikely. All right, here are the guests. Let's see what we got. We got Angie with 4, Randy 3, Brad 3, Brandon 3, Ashley 3, Joe with 3, Nancy with 4. Yes, I know there's everything looks like it's all spinning around, but there are three low pressures that are on this particular view. One located in Arkansas, one located in southern Tennessee, and one located at Kansas City. Those create a messy setup in timing because they're all three drifting over us today. So you can see why timing location will matter. But because there are three, there is not one that is able to steal the show, if you will, from the others to where you end up with one big system. And that would have been a much more active setup for us in terms of severe weather in this setup here today and even tomorrow. But because the energy is spread out over these three different little ripples, if you will, there's not as much action as far as severe weather to worry about. The only one that has a better opportunity will be the one further to the south. It has a better opportunity to gain more fuel and thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico. Therefore, it will be the one that will get more attention today. Ours relatively tame as they roll on through. But there is a front that we're watching. Again, this is all just a mess in advance of it, but here's the front back into the Dakotas. That'll be here tomorrow to kick up at least a small window for some gusty thunderstorms. The severe threat is not looking very promising on that, which is not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But I think if we, again, didn't have all this mess in advance of this front, we would have a bigger ordeal. So thank your friendly neighborhood low pressure for helping us out on giving us rain, but giving us rain to disrupt what could be a much more active setup for tomorrow. In fact, here's the severe risk today. You can see it's a slight risk across areas of the Arctic area around that low pressure, the southernmost one. And then you got the front itself. Obviously, there's going to be some severe risk of it coming out into the plains. And yeah, we do have a marginal that goes out into Kentucky, but that's just to cover one or two cells that may get close to severe limits. I can't rule out a severe thunderstorm warning, one or two. That is possible, but it would be about as many as you can count on one hand if they were to even form. And I'm talking about the whole region of Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois. So there's not much really to track in that sense, but we'll watch it. Tomorrow's severe risk is actually fairly limited. It's mainly for areas of the upper Ohio Valley heading toward Lake Erie, heading to the eastern side of Ontario. And that's really just because the idea of the front itself is going to have a better wind field here, although the winds are not bad. I mean, they are decent winds aloft that do develop mainly for central and east Kentucky. So I do think there could be a marginal that maybe get added to, depending on how active tomorrow morning is. If we have several showers and storms around tomorrow morning, that would really taper down any severe threat when the front actually does move on by. But if it ends up being quiet, we got a decent amount of sunshine, then I would not be surprised that they were to draw that out. What we call lapse rates, which is a signal for some severe weather, they're actually relatively weak tomorrow. So there's a lot of things working against it, which is not a bad thing. But it's not a zero chance right now, and there's no alert day for it because, again, there's a lot missing here with this one. In fact, just looking at today as an example, this is looking at your wind shear, and it's hard to read that. So let me go full screen. But roughly 40 knots, and you get some isolated severe to 35, but roughly 40 or higher is what we're looking at. And this is just really for early afternoon. From the Storm Prediction Centers is the RAP model that they look at. You can see it's very, very just weak in general across Kentucky and into Illinois. You may get a 30 here and there. Otherwise, they're about 20 to 25. So very, very weak wind fields, which is, again, why they're moving slow for today. They don't have much of a push behind them. Much different story in the plains. That's why they got that slight risk out. Another thing that we're watching is fuel. And that we do have. I know this looks like a very mesmerizing maze map where you get your not really a crossword puzzle. What am I thinking of? It's the maze puzzle. It has a name. I just can't think of it. Anyway, that you always get in your coloring books and stuff. Anyway, that's what that looks like to me. That's what it reminds me of anyway. And notice we do have Cape roughly about 1,500. And what does that mean? Well, that's decent. That's enough that you can get a few thunderstorms that pulse upward to about near severe limits, and then they, again, collapse because they don't have that wind. They don't have the tailpipe. And if they don't have the tailpipe, they have a lifespan that is relatively short. So we're not too worried about anything intense on that side, just clustering of storms. And again, I can't give you specific timing today just because they will be very random. Just be weather aware that there will be storms kind of just popping up in general after lunch hour today all the way through even tonight. They'll develop. Just have your alerts for heavy rain and lightning turned on your phone for the Wave Weather app and we'll notify you. The app will as soon as it detects either one of those two. That way, if you're out working in the yard, you have a moment to stop and take a look at the radar and see what is popping nearby to trigger that alert that you got. Michael, I don't know if I got your comment. Try and get around into golf before the rain hits. If you are going now, you should be able to. If I missed your earlier comment, I'm sorry on time frame. Let's see. How much rain, Brenda? I was asking how much rain we could get. Well, these have the ability to produce rainfall amounts of about 1.5 inches if they can be fully realized. So if you were to get a thunderstorm in your backyard and say it doesn't move very much and its entire lifespan is in your backyard, you could end up easily with about 1.5 inches of rainfall. But they will be moving somewhat today. So you will share some of that 1.5 inches of rain with other counties or neighborhoods near you. So you may get maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and then the rest of that will be carried on to the next county over. But if they stay in one particular spot for at least an hour, yes, they have potential to put down some hefty amounts, and therefore you can get localized flash flooding. But it will be just that, localized. We are in a flash flooding threat zone, if you will, for today and even parts of tomorrow. So just be aware of that. Let's see, Sean, on an asphalt job, what time do you think the rain will hit? That's hopefully answered on how much. Again, varying, but on timing, again, Sean, it just depends. They will be literally playing like bumper cars up each other. If you've got a couple of storms that pop, they produce an outflow, a mini cold front from it that can induce another round of pop-up. In this case, it'd be northeast of where they are. So if you have a storm southwest of you and it's weakening, doesn't mean you're entirely out of the woods. If you're northeast of where it weakened, it could easily have produced an outflow, and you may have one that develops right over you then. So if you're northeast of any of these downpours today, you have a slightly higher chance to see something pop in your area versus any other side of the storm next to you, if that makes sense. So look for that on the wave weather radar. Okay. Let's see. Carson said something Sunday about maybe Wednesday being alert day. Right. And the reason why you haven't heard much about it since is that we just haven't seen much data to really go for that. I'll show you in a second why, but it's not a zero chance. As I mentioned, it all depends on how the morning goes tomorrow. But anytime you don't hear much about it from us, that should tell you a signal that there's not a lot of signal for it or a lot of confidence in it. It's when you hear from us nonstop, that's when things are getting a little rough, right? All right. And in fact, let me show you. This is one of our in-house models. Again, you're looking at a lot of red and the gold indicating fuel. The gold is a lot of fuel. The red is some fuel, but not, a ton. Enough for thunderstorms. And if you don't have any of the red or the gold, you are golden. All right. So this afternoon, we get to about 3 o'clock. You see what that wave has done. That wave, it's in Tennessee, the low that's drifting to the east. That's where, again, you get some of the sparking of clusters of thunderstorms this afternoon, all tracking to the northeast. So I would say anytime after lunch today through about sunset, that will be more than likely the better opportunity to see storms, especially along and east of 65 as they drift in. And we may see things calm down a bit to the west. We'll see, because they're so cloudy right now. But if they get any sun at all, they do have the fuel to redevelop more downpours and thunderstorms that would only just move right back in again, but that would be after sunset. So that's why we have a nighttime chance as well tonight, as well as a daytime potential as well passing through here. We get into later on this afternoon. Here we go with showers and storms, 11 o'clock tonight. And you can tell the fuel got yanked out of our area because the showers and rain. Meanwhile, it's still there to the west of us tonight. So at any point during the night, can't rule out again, isolated shower or thunderstorm could try to form. Otherwise, we get right into Wednesday. Here comes the cold front moving in across Illinois at 8:30 in the morning. We get into 12 noon. Now the front is just north of Indianapolis. And now you're starting to see some showers and storms developing along it. But again, keep an eye on Ohio. Your higher wind fields will be in Ohio. That's where a lot of that will begin to cluster a bit more into about the 4 o'clock hour. Meanwhile, for Kentucky, we've got a few spotty thunderstorms to try to form, but not a lot of action yet, right? And again, you see the front right there clearly on the map. By 4:30, it will be crossing central areas of Indiana with most of your storms to the north. As I mentioned, what we again call lapse rates, which indicate really just the rising motion of the air is quite weak compared to what Ohio's got. So there will be some thunderstorms developing, but I don't know if they'll be able to form an entire line. It may be tough. It may be a very broken area of showers and storms. And here we go, about 9 o'clock. look at how we are just now getting into storms at 9 o'clock, and Ohio is basically done. And the reason for that is another issue of why they will be a bit weaker. Is that a lot of the actions headed more east. That punch of wind is rapidly flying through the Great Lakes. The tail, the front itself, is just dragging through Kentucky. So our end of the front begins to slow down. So that alters our timing for more late afternoon and evening. But at the moment, because the main low pressure this thing's attached to is leaving so fast off the map, this front just doesn't have a lot of friends to work with. So it'll try to form into some thunderstorms. And if there were to be a marginal risk tomorrow, it would be issued right along that tail that moves in the evening. And again, that may not even include Louisville. It may be south and east of Louisville, and I doubt it would Indiana. And that's just a very low end risk. All right. So if that were to indeed develop or happen, we'll let you know. Obviously on the blog here tomorrow, we'll know. But right now that signal is very low. So I don't want to spend too much time on it because it doesn't look like to be a huge issue at all. But all the threats would be on the table. But again, it's a low end risk. All right. Everyone type one if you're good. Are you good on that? Let's see. There's some potential, but they aren't very favorable. Yeah, there are a few cases where warnings can get issued tomorrow with the front. Absolutely, that's possible. And no doubt they have the better wind energy than they've had of anything we've had this week. But still, being the best of the entire week doesn't mean you're severe. It just means you have a higher ranking than the other days do. So it's a higher ranking than, say, the other days, but it's only like to here versus when we had the big outbreaks as of late. They've been way, way high. So it's on a much lower scale coming our way. All right, but here's the thing. It's a 2-for-1 deal, guys. We get another front that moves in. This one will be Thursday, but this one really is going to struggle. Here we are at 1 o'clock on Thursday, and there's the front right there. But because the first one took whatever moisture was even possible to try to gather ahead of it, it was yanked out of the air. So this one on Thursday just doesn't have much. And the cooler weather is actually lagging with the system way up here to the north. So because of that lag up to the north, we have a chance to get a fairly warm day, low to mid 80s for Thursday, but not without much of a thunderstorm chance because there's not as much moisture in the air. So a typical like summer setup, lower humidity. It will be breezy on Thursday, and the rain chance will be low. So Thursday doesn't look bad at all. It will be warmer. But the cooler weather will move in on Friday, making Friday certainly a much better feeling day with still some nice weather. So at least want to explain how the end of the week will fare. I think we'll hold on to that all the way into Saturday. All right. So I'm going to go to a wider view. And if I'm going to a wider view on the extended, there's a reason for that. And if it's showing the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean, you probably know where I'm going here. But we get nice weather Friday and Saturday. Sunday, there's another low pressure that wants to scoop by. Here's the deal with that. We've got this big low that's been just constantly been locked in Eastern Canada for a while. So that's been why we've had so many fronts just kind of just drop in. Well, we've got another one. Another spoke is going to move right along this front and dig quickly in behind it. But I think it's going to be moving so fast, I really don't see the idea of this developing into a low pressure. And it's very unusual to get a strong low pressure to form right next to a larger low like this. It's going to be very difficult. So I think this is going to be more of an open wave or a front that will dive in as we into Sunday and Monday. And you'll see it right there, try on Sunday, and then Monday quickly heads into the Gulf states. If that can happen quick enough, this open wave can happen fast, then any severe risk with that front would be way to our south, closer to I-40 or maybe even closer to I-20. So well away of our area, but it'll pass through quickly Sunday to Monday. But we can't really escape the rain chance because we're so close to the bigger low that some scattered afternoon showers, not so much thunderstorms, but afternoon showers may try to still spill into the area at some point Sunday and Monday. But as far as any severe risk after tomorrow's chance, it may be so fast, it just doesn't have a chance to gather a lot and get strong and become a problem for us. Thank you. Check mark. We'll deal with that. Easy enough. As it moves on by, things then start to evolve to where either we'll have a tropical wave, which we have few now, that will try to develop perhaps something near Cuba or Florida as we head into next week, or the front that moves in here fast as an open wave on Sunday will stall and could become something tropical next week. around this area of the country. You guys are fully aware of how warm the water is, right? So that's an area to watch. What I love about that signal, though, is it's starting to show signs that eventually we're going to get the Bermuda High back on the map again, which means we shut down the severe weather machine over our area. It will crank up, though, into the plains, but it'll shut down for us, and we get into a typical hot summer forecast. And we're already seeing several tropical waves out in the Atlantic and what we call the ITCZ, which is the Intertropical Convergence Zone. It's where the tropical storms form off the coast of Africa. It, too, is becoming a little more alive. All signs, again, of heat building. I think we will get closer to 90 by the time we hit into the end of next week, and maybe in the 90s, at least lower 90s, as we head toward the Father's Day window, if I had to guess. So there's the 10 days. It stacks up right now. Again, 82 today, or 82 tomorrow. Sorry, this is tomorrow's 10-day, but hey, you get a preview. 82 tomorrow with showers and storms in the area. There's that bonus day Thursday with 80s, but without a lot of thunderstorm action. But then the cooler weather arrives on Friday. Nice weather on Saturday. There's that open wave on Sunday. We'll account for that storm chance as it passes by. Sinks to the south. We cool again behind it. Maybe a spotty shower Monday. And then it gets wiped away. That low in eastern Canada moves away. And then here we go. The 80s start to climb back up. So it's an up and down storyline for the next 10 days, but it's not terrible. If we can get away without any big time severe and some beneficial rain every once in a while, that's good for all of our gardens. And still some beautiful days to enjoy. And I would enjoy these 70-degree days that are popping up, because I'm telling you, once that Bermuda High takes over, that's it. Summer's going to lock in here for a while, guys. And the hot and humid days are ahead of us. So soak it up. All right. You guys look like you're in really good shape. Appreciate it. As always, I'm going to jet. Get ready for the midday show. Thanks for watching. You all behave. Why do I always do that? Hit the wrong map. Okay. You all behave. Stay out of trouble. What else did you say? Don't get arrested. It's important. Be nice. Be kind. All the good stuff. Just do it. See you later.